There is a universal belief or conviction that's been held by millions of people for thousands of years. Some of these people call it what goes around comes around. Others refer to it as you reap what you sow. And another group labels it as good karma. No matter what it's called, here's what all of these people believe. When you help people find what they have lost or work to restore those who have fallen, good things will come back to you if trouble ever comes your way. This is the Good Works Rule. Our story begins with the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. In August of 2015, Carter announced to the world that doctors had informed him that he had a spreading cancer that had reached 4 parts of his brain. As a result of this diagnosis, Carter said, "I was faced with the end of my life, and Rose and I both thought that I had just a few, not more than 2 or 3 weeks to live. I had a feeling of despair." And Carter added, "My fate is in the hands of God, whom I worship." Yet Carter's faith was not the only thing that he had going for him during this most difficult time. When he finished his first term in office in 1981, this former president established a nonprofit organization in Atlanta in 1982 to do good works worldwide and to advocate for the poor, called the Carter Center. As a result of his civil and humanitarian efforts, Carter was ultimately awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Yet what is truly amazing about Jimmy Carter is that in the fall of 2015, when death was literally knocking at his door, he made a commitment to fly out of the country to Nepal to build houses for poor people. Carter made these plans to help others, even though this international trip would interfere and cause him to miss his last treatment sessions with his doctors for his brain cancer. But just when you thought this story could not get any more amazing, it does. On December 6th of 2015, during a Sunday school meeting at Maranatha Baptist Church in Plains, Georgia, Carter shared with the class that he was cancer-free and that all the tumors had disappeared from his body. So how does a diagnosis given by doctors of brain cancer, which is basically a death sentence, get reversed in 4 months? The answer is simple. When you help people find what they have lost or work to restore those who have fallen, good things will come back to you if trouble ever comes your way. In another part of the country, Billy Ray Harris was spending his nights sleeping under a bridge in Kansas City, Missouri, and begging for money during the day. Harris had been homeless for years, and he had not been in contact with members of his family for over 16 years. On one particular day, Sarah Darling passed Harris at his usual spot and dropped in some change into his cup. But unbeknownst to her, she accidentally dropped in her diamond engagement ring. Harris took the ring and had it appraised, and a jeweler offered him $4,000 on the spot for it. Harris left the shop with the ring and reasoned that if a jeweler wanted to give him $4,000, he could probably get more elsewhere. Yet there was something else about this situation that just didn't sit well with Billy Ray. Even though this money would dramatically change his life, Harris felt in the core of his heart that it would be evil to sell this ring. So he made up in his mind that he would go back and sit down on that street corner and wait for this woman to come by and give her ring back. True enough, a few days later, Sarah did return to that same street corner and asked Harris if she had left anything valuable with him the other day. He told her that he had her ring. This event seemed like a miracle to Sarah because she thought for sure that there was no way she'd get her ring back. As a way to say thank you, Sarah and her husband Bill told people on social media what happened and started a fund to raise money for Harris to help him get his life back on track. While they had hoped to raise several $100s through a website, the fund eventually brought in over $200,000 from over 7,300 donors from all around the world. Also, a lawyer helped Billy Ray put his money in a trust fund, and he was able to buy a car and put money down on a house, and he has a part-time job. But that's not all. After Billy Ray's story appeared on TV, his family members, who had not been able to find him for years and heard rumors that he was dead, were able to track him down. They were happily reunited, and Harris is now working on his relationship with them, including nieces and nephews he hadn't even known existed. Billy Ray Harris's life made a 180-degree turnaround, and it's all because when you help people find what they have lost or work to restore those who have fallen, good things will come back to you if trouble ever comes your way. Kemita Dover is a top advertising executive with one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and she manages a budget of over $75 million. In her position, Kemita is responsible for advertising and marketing multi-million-dollar products. One of her products that our company makes is Similac, which has helped new and expectant moms nourish their babies and has become the #1 brand fed in hospitals in America. During her professional career, Kemita has received the highest awards from her company for excellence in the field of marketing and advertising. In another part of the city, Reginald A. Cook is one of the most prominent and successful civil rights attorneys in Ohio. Cook has a reputation for representing clients who are trying to fight the system, and he often represents these individuals for free. Cook's concern for fighting for the underdog has made him the darling of local media. He would often hold press conferences during his trials or court filings, and they were well attended by members of the media. He has received numerous awards from the community for his tireless efforts in promoting justice and equality, including recognition from the Columbus Urban League and the black law students from his alma mater, Capital University Law School. Reginald is also a history-making attorney in the area of civil rights and discrimination. He was the first lawyer in the history of Columbus to successfully use a 25-year-old city anti-discrimination law to bring charges and win a case against a store clerk. Cook also made history in the Midwest by being the first attorney to bring charges of discrimination against a national or regional corporation that spurred an economic boycott by the public of the store and eventually shut down the business forever. Finally, Cook is the first attorney in America to win punitive damages in a federal court against a company run by a multinational corporation for maintaining a racially hostile work environment. This major winning case was trumpeted on the front page of the city's biggest newspaper, the Columbus Dispatch. Yet on any day of his legal career, Reginald's mind is often bombarded with powerful spiritual truths, principles, and insights that he believes are coming from heaven. Reginald is convinced that God wants him to share these revelations with others in a book. While Reginald would often write down these profound communications, he never took the time or effort to write the book. Then, through a strange series of events, Reginald finds himself in a situation where his license to practice law has been suspended for 2 years. Next, his wife leaves him for another man since he is no longer the successful attorney. Although these events are devastating, Cook firmly believes that God is allowing these bad things to happen in his life in order to get his attention. It is at this time that Cook decides to write the book. Next, Kemita receives horrific news from her doctor. On February 4th, 2016, she is informed that she has the deadliest form of breast cancer and that it is inoperable, incurable, and spreading. A cancer victim with this kind of diagnosis generally has a life expectancy of about 6 months. This news, of course, was devastating to Kemita, and she is now required to make frequent trips to the doctor's office, and she has to resign her position as a chief executive of a large nonprofit corporation. As a way of processing and dealing with this horrific nightmare, Kemita begins to share her medical condition on social media. After reading these communications, Cook contacts Kemita and tells her that he has just written a book that could help her. When they met, Cook told Kemita that his career as a lawyer had been put on hold until he wrote this book. Cook said he specifically wanted to share with her information that he had written in Chapter 5 of the book because he firmly believed it could make a difference in her present health situation. Cook then shared with Kemita a universal conviction that he discussed in Chapter 5 that simply says, when you help people find what they have lost or work to restore those who have fallen, good things will come back to you if trouble ever comes your way. With this thought in mind, Cook advised Kemita during this period to turn her focus and attention away from her impending death from cancer and to get involved in an effort to help save the lives of others. Cook then told Kemita about a sick and horrific practice that mentally ill and emotionally disturbed people have been engaging in for decades in America called suicide by cop. This situation occurs when a seriously disturbed individual has decided to commit suicide but does not have the courage or ability to pull the trigger on himself or herself. In order to accomplish this dastardly deed, this troubled individual intentionally behaves in a threatening manner in the presence of a law enforcement officer in order to entice or provoke a lethal or deadly response. Three months before Cook had met with Kemita, NBC News reported that a study revealed that almost half of the people who die at the hands of police have some kind of mental or physical disability. In an effort to respond to this troubling problem and to help save the lives of hundreds of mentally ill and disabled persons all across America, Cook formed a nonprofit corporation called Beautiful Minds Matter. During the meeting, Cook asked Kemita to help him with this nonprofit organization because it was involved in good works all across the country. Then he said, when you're sick with a deadly disease, sometimes the best medicine is not what you give to yourself, but what you give to others. After this meeting, Kemita agreed to help and get involved to launch Beautiful Minds Matter as a national nonprofit organization. Specifically, she paid $300 for the filing fee to the IRS to help Beautiful Minds Matter receive its 501c3 designation through the federal government as a nonprofit organization. She also initiated fundraising campaign activities involving emails and letters to major corporations across America. She also flew to Los Angeles, California, to help set up a regional office for BMM in LA, and to help produce a marketing video for the organization. And finally, she helped to recruit and select the first president and CEO of BMM in the name of Dr. Sorora Bacchus, a licensed psychiatrist from Santa Monica, California. Soon thereafter, Kemita's doctors began to notice a surprising positive change in her medical condition. Scans and examinations revealed that Kemita's cancer tumors were no longer spreading, and it appeared as if they were frozen in place. Kemita was thrilled and elated with this news, because if her cancer was no longer spreading, that also meant she was no longer dying. While this medical change did not mean that Kemita was cured of cancer, it did mean that the 6-month or less death sentence that had been basically given by her doctor had been put on hold. During this time, Kemita celebrated with her family the fact that there was finally some good news about her medical condition. Although her doctor did not know how long her tumors would stop spreading, one thing was clear. Everything changed for Kemita weeks after she began spending time and money trying to save the lives of mentally ill and disabled persons all across America. Then, in December of 2017, after being dormant and still for nearly 18 months, Kemita's doctor informed her that the tumors again were spreading. Her doctor prescribed a new cancer drug, but Kemita had to stop taking it because of the adverse reactions to her body. Her cancer doctor then let Kemita know that there was nothing more that medical science could do for her. Given this prognosis, Kemita decided to get another opinion and to terminate her relationship with her present doctor. Her new oncologist was a physician at the Ohio State University James Cancer Center, which is one of the leading cancer treatment research facilities in America. Kemita's new doctor was able to get her into the most innovative cancer treatment program that medical science had to offer today, called immunotherapy. However, due to the violent reaction she was having to this cutting-edge drug, after taking it for 6 days, Kemita had to be taken off this treatment regimen by her doctor. During this time, Kemita's red blood cell count reached a dangerously low level, and her doctor makes immediate arrangements for her to receive a blood transfusion in the emergency room of the hospital, followed by a bone marrow check the next week. On May 16th of 2018, Kemita's doctor ended the session by telling her that the next appointment would be for the sole purpose of discussing comfort care and how to prepare to die. Now, while most people would be depressed and sad and horrified if they were given this news by their doctor, Kemita was undeterred, calm, collected, and unshaken by this information. In fact, the next day, on May the 17th of 2018, here is what Kemita posted and stated on social media. I am thankful that God continues to provide me with strength, energy, and endurance. And then she added this: cancer, to me, is just a word on page 216 of my Webster's. I am blessed. How many people could talk like that the day after their doctor told them to prepare to die? Now, there was a reason why Kmita was able to exude such confidence and composure when most people would be losing their mind. You see, Kmita had already been through this fire drill before, and this was not the first time that a cancer doctor told her that death was imminent. In spite of what her new doctor told her, Kmita purposed in her mind that she would do the same thing she did when she heard this prognosis before. And that was to continue to work with Beautiful Minds Matter to help save lives of mentally ill and disabled persons all across America. 2 weeks after the doctor's appointment, Kmita is resting in her bedroom when she perceives what she believes to be white light swirling around on her chest. After this experience, she wakes up with the belief that the cancer has left her body. When she returns to the doctor for a follow-up examination 3 weeks later, to everyone's amazement, the medical exam indicates that her red blood count is higher than normal. A count of 11 is normal, but Kmita's count was 11.5. But that wasn't the most spectacular news of the day. Her new medical exam revealed that all of her cancer tumors had disappeared from her body and that she had no active disease. Kmita's doctor is stunned by these results and states that she has never heard anything like this happening in her entire medical career. There has been cases where a patient's cancer has gone into remission after various treatments. However, there is no known case in the world where a person dying from a disease has been able to use the good works rule or any version thereof to not only stop a spreading cancer, but also to make it disappear and vanish completely from their body. If good fortune just happened once for Kmita, the skeptics could easily call it a fluke of nature. But for it to happen twice in a row stretches the credulity and makes it hard to explain otherwise. The stories of former President Jimmy Carter, Billy Ray Harris, and Kmita Dover are living proof. When you help people find what they have lost or work to restore those who have fallen, good things will come back to you if trouble ever comes your way. This is the Good Works Rule.